AGS-17 Plamia automatic grenade launcher unit ensured the advance of motorized riflemen by hitting fire points of the armed forces of Ukraine. Soldiers used an upgraded grenade launcher with a modified flash suppressor, which allowed them to fire secretly at enemy fortified positions.
Скорострельность ЕГС 6 боеприпасов в секунду.
Russian troops used deception and drone strikes to ambush Ukrainian forces and advance Frontline. In a bold and tactically brilliant operation on the Eastern Front, Russian armed forces carried out a multi-layered deception maneuver that resulted in the complete disruption of a Ukrainian defensive stronghold, the destruction of a retreating evacuation convoy, and the establishment of a new forward position deep inside enemy-controlled territory.
Давай.
The operation began after a previously identified Ukrainian nest, fortified in a two-story building, was obliterated using an improvised explosive device, IED, of a magnitude comparable to anti-tank mines. This explosion effectively destabilized the enemy's frontline resistance and cleared a path for Russian infantry to advance. Without delay, a small Russian assault team comprising only 4 fighters stormed the building where Ukrainian troops had regrouped after the blast. Exploiting the element of surprise and using deceptive maneuvers, the Russian soldiers made it appear as though they were part of a much larger force. Ukrainian defenders, numbering 10 in total, were psychologically pressured and surrendered under the false assumption that they were outnumbered and completely surrounded. Securing the building, the Russian troops discovered a functioning enemy radio station. Demonstrating quick thinking and high-level tactical coordination, the soldiers began transmitting false communications using the enemy's own frequency. Masquerading as Ukrainian forces in need of urgent support, they requested immediate evacuation for their wounded unit. Within minutes, a Ukrainian evacuation column composed of infantry fighting vehicles and at least 1 tank mobilized toward the site. However, the supposed rescue mission turned into a deadly ambush. Russian first-person view, FPV, drones, already in position and pre-programmed with the coordinates of the expected evacuation route, launched precision strikes against the advancing convoy. The vehicles were destroyed with deadly accuracy, and surviving crew members were swiftly captured by Russian ground forces. The deception did not end there. The Russian troops, still operating the captured radio station, continued to mislead Ukrainian command. They broadcasted messages claiming the Russian squad inside the house had been neutralized and requested further evacuation support. But Ukrainian command, wary of the situation, rejected the request and instead ordered their personnel to retreat from the area on foot, further exposing them to potential drone and artillery strikes. Capitalizing on the confusion, a unit of Russian infantry disguised themselves in captured Ukrainian uniforms and insignia. Under this guise, they infiltrated deeper into enemy territory, bypassing checkpoints and defensive lines. This tactical infiltration allowed them to reach the nearest village still under Ukrainian control without raising suspicion. Once inside, they began fortifying a new position, establishing a Russian forward operating base just behind the enemy's defensive front.
Дома окружен, сдавайтесь, блядь! Мужики, сдавайтесь по-хорошему. Где? Здесь. Давайте, сука! Сдавайте, сука!
Руки за голову, блядь! Быстро! Вылазь нахуй! Сука, блядь! Вылазь, стрелять не будем, блядь! Живые все останетесь! Вы живые останетесь! Мы не такие, как вы, давай вылазь!
Выходи еще, сейчас две группы подойдут, бля, разбираться не будем потом.
Сейчас ТМки туда закинем, пиздало будет, здание закроют.
Пизда тарелками забросают, все, сюда идите!
Пока переговоры, ведем пока переговоры.
Давай быстрее, нахуй!
Не кричи, не нагнетай,
Такого мужика! Давай, я вижу тебя! Давай, потихонечку! Руки за голову! Руки за голову! Давай, давай сюда!
Давай. Давай, вот, давай сюда иди. Вот сюда иди, сюда. Сколько вот человек?
Сейчас скажу.
Ложись. Проходи.
Ходи, оружие.
Миха, контроль его.
Ходи сюда. Ходи сюда.
Ложись вот так, ложись.
Вот один уже вышел!
Пацаны, ТМки закинем, пизда будет, а в рот ты бал. Давай, выходи сюда.
Выходи! Техники есть с собой?
Сколько народу?
Давай!
Ложись вот сюда.
Давай, иди!
Скажи то, что сдаются. Скажи, сдаются, пускай тебя отменяют. Ложись. Ложитесь вот сюда. Ложись, иди сюда, ложись.
Раненый же.
Руки сразу пизда!
Сколько у вас еще человек? Тихо, ложись, тихо, не двигаться.
Я не двигаюсь, да.
Тихо. Я расстреляю.
The armed forces of the Russian Federation carried out one massive and 5 group strikes, which hit facilities of the Ukrainian defense industry and refineries, the AFU command and control system, radar stations, ammunition and material depots, manufacturing shops, facilities for the storage and launch of strike unmanned aerial vehicles, UAV command posts, storage areas of uncrewed surface vehicles, as well as temporary deployment areas of Ukrainian armed formations, nationalists, and foreign mercenaries. During the week, units of the Sever Group of Forces liberated Melovoy, Kharkov region. Russian units hit formations of 2 mechanized brigades, 1 air assault brigade, 1 motorized infantry brigade, 1 UAV brigade of the AFU, 2 territorial defense brigades, and 1 border detachment of the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine. In Sumy region, the group's units continue to advance into the depths of the enemy's defense. Manpower and hardware of 3 mechanized brigades, 3 air assault brigades, 1 Jaeger brigade, 3 assault regiments, 1 assault battalion of the AFU, 2 territorial defense brigades, and the Chimera Special Operations Formation of the Main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine were hit. Over the past week, over 1,360 troops, 5 tanks, 17 armored fighting vehicles, and 37 motor vehicles were eliminated in the area of responsibility of the Sever Group of Forces. 34 field artillery guns and 6 ammunition and material depots were wiped out. Units of the Zapad Group of Forces improved the tactical situation. Strikes were delivered at formations of 4 mechanized brigades, 2 assault brigades, 1 airmobile brigade, 1 UAV regiment of the AFU, and 2 territorial defense brigades. The enemy lost more than 1,550 troops, 1 tank, 14 armored fighting vehicles, to include 1 UK-made Snatch armored fighting vehicle, 1 HMMWV armored vehicle, and 1 US-made M113 armored personnel carrier. In addition, 72 motor vehicles, 10 field artillery guns, to include 2 NATO-made guns, 16 electronic warfare stations, and 28 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the UG Group of Forces continued to advance to the depths of enemy defenses and liberated Pretikino, Donetsk People's Republic. The group's units hit formations of 5 mechanized brigades, 1 airmobile brigade, 1 assault brigade, 1 mountain assault brigade of the AFU, 2 territorial defense brigades, and the Azov Special Operations Brigade. Over the past week in this direction, the AFU losses amounted to more than 1,180 troops, 2 tanks, 1 HMMWV armored vehicle, and 1 U.S.-made M113 armored personnel carrier. Moreover, 16 motor vehicles, 14 field artillery guns, 3 electronic warfare stations, and 15 ammunition and material depots were destroyed. The Tsendra Group of Forces units continued to develop an offensive on the territory of the Donetsk People's Republic and Dnipropetrovsk region. Novokrenka and Razino, Donetsk People's Republic, have been liberated. Strikes were delivered at formations of 5 mechanized brigades, 1 assault brigade, 1 air assault brigade, 1 mountain assault brigade, 1 airborne brigade, 1 UAV brigade, 2 assault regiments of the AFU, 2 Marine brigades, 2 territorial defense brigades, and 2 National Guard brigades. The AFU losses amounted to up to 3,180 troops, 17 armored fighting vehicles, to include 2 M113 armored personnel carriers, 2 HMMWV armored vehicles, and 3 U.S.-made Max Pro armored vehicles. Moreover, 45 motor vehicles and 13 field artillery guns were destroyed. Over the past week, units of the Vostok Group of Forces advanced to the depths of the enemy's defense and liberated Chervenaya Zerka, Donetsk People's Republic. Russian troops delivered strikes at manpower and hardware of 5 mechanized brigades of the AFU, 1 Marine brigade, 2 territorial defense brigades, and 1 National Guard brigade. The AFU losses amounted to more than 1,310 troops, 2 tanks, 4 armored fighting vehicles, 44 motor vehicles, 17 field artillery guns, and 7 electronic warfare stations. Units of the Dnepr Group of Forces inflicted fire damage on formations of 2 mechanized brigades, 1 mountain assault brigade, 2 coastal defense brigades of the AFU, and 2 territorial defense brigades. The AFU lost more than 520 troops, 1 U.S.-made HMMWV armored vehicle, and 48 motor vehicles. Moreover, 12 artillery guns, 36 electronic warfare stations, and 23 ammunition, material, and fuel depots were destroyed. Over the past week, air defense systems shot down 7 UK-made Storm Shadow air-based missiles, 6 US-made HIMARS MLRS projectiles, 1 Neptune long-range guided missile, 36 guided aerial bombs, and 1,172 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the enemy lost 663 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 66,978 unmanned aerial vehicles, 612 anti-aircraft missile systems, 24,124 tanks and other armored fighting vehicles, 1,573 MLRS combat vehicles, 26,910 field artillery guns and mortars, 37,637 units of support military vehicles have been neutralized.